I want to have the abundant life that Jesus tells me I can have, right?
Yeah.
And so
Tell him, dude.
to do that, I have to grow.
Welcome to the Getting Better podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Thanks so much for listening, clicking that link wherever you're at. Before we get started, hey, I just want to encourage you that I'm proud of you. You know why? Because you're trying to get better. You're trying to grow. And as you grow, everyone else around you will grow. Hey, if you're listening on YouTube, do that like, subscribe thing. Even comment. Tell us where you're listening from. Maybe you have something that you want to grow in, you want us to talk about, or maybe if you're on listen to Spotify, do the subscribe thing. What is Apple's follow, and you can rate and review. Yeah, all that stuff is good and helpful. It helps the show. It helps others grow and helps us grow, and we're so thankful for you doing any of that. But as always, my friend, my teammate, and what else are you, Gage? I mean, just
I don't know.
overall, just a good friend.
Different people.
Different people, but one of my great friends, and just helps me grow, helps me get better, and stuff like this. Gage, what's going on, dude?
What's up, man? Actually, I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. I just looked at my phone a minute ago. I'm only at 15 unread messages. I'm normally about the 25 range, so I'm trying to cut that down. So I'm getting better at responding. At least I'm trying.
What do you think is the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
I don't know. Seriously, I don't know. Probably text me.
Gage is unavailable at all times.
Probably my school email, to be honest with you. That's what I look at the most.
So, especially in the winter when just see if you're out of school.
Yeah.
So let's go email, text, call, or your wife. If you want to get a hold of you,
my wife. If you really want to make sure I hear from you, tell my wife.
Not the device that's in his pocket.
No. My wife will tell me.
So what do you do with your phone?
Well,
no, I got a better question. If a message comes through, what do you do?
So here's my
Ding.
issue. It depends. If I see like it's not, I don't want to say conflict, but something I'm like, I don't know about, I just swipe it up, and then I don't look at it again for a little bit, and then I'm sitting at home.
And a little bit is like 2 weeks.
I'm sitting at home and I look at it and I'm like, oh, shoot. And then maybe 3 days later, I message the person back and they're probably like, what's he even talking about? 3 days has passed now. So, but I'm getting better. I'm at 15 right now.
Gage's way to avoid conflict is to not answer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We'll talk about conflict one day.
I think my wife would tell you the same thing too.
It'll go away. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Well,
which it does not.
Yeah,
it does not.
It does not.
In case you're wondering, I figured that it does not go away.
Yeah. Well, this is something me and Gage talk about very often because obviously we communicate I would say pretty often.
Out of the people, yeah, you're out of the people I communicate with, yeah, you're probably top of the list or close to it.
You think I text you 2 to 1, like twice as much as you text me back?
That make me feel bad.
2 to 1 or 3 to 1? I'll let you pick.
I'm going 2 to 1.
Okay. But
that was a good one.
In your defense, I send a lot of stuff.
That is true.
Yeah,
it's good stuff though.
It's good stuff, but it's
when I get to it.
It's questions. It's that's enough of that.
But good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're trying to grow in that area and read some text messages and communicate with people because obviously people are reaching out to you. So maybe. Never mind, I won't go.
I know, like stabbing me in the side. That's what it feels like right now.
No, maybe people love reaching out to you more than you love reaching out to them. I don't know. That's just
I'm editing it. I'm cutting that part out.
You can cut it out. It's okay. No, it's good stuff. I'm glad you're getting better there. Where we're trying to get better today, and I think this topic's good to talk about because, we have a podcast kind of about spiritual growth. I think growth in general, but really it's all tied spiritually. Because without the spiritual foundation, why would I grow? We could dive down in that hoop, but really when we talk about it, it's what is the point of growing? Like why can't I just stay the same? Why can't I just stay where I'm at and just if Jesus is coming back, if we're all going to heaven, what's the point of me? Growing in any area? What's the point of me growing in relationships? What's the point of me growing in how I read the Bible, growing in my prayer life, growing in how I view people, growing in you name it? What's the point of that if I'm going to heaven, everything's good. Like, why do I need to grow when I'm perfectly content with who I am? And I think some people have that outlook on life, and so we'll try to answer some of that today.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think to that point, real quick, as you were asking me that earlier, and this is going to be oversimplified, so I'm not trying to oversimplify it. But to me, when you ask, why do you want to grow? I want to have the abundant life that Jesus tells me I can have, right?
Yeah.
And so,
tell them, dude.
To do that, I have to grow. I want that abundant life, and I don't know what it looks like at times, but when I'm thinking about why I want to grow, that's why I want to have that abundant life that He tells me I can have.
Yeah, as John 10:10, thief has come to steal, kill, and destroy, but depending on which translation you read, which is not a topic we will dive into, but it's either I've come to give you life and life more abundantly, or life and life to the full.
Right.
And either way, however you want to word those, I'm cool with either.
Yeah. I like it.
So I'm not going to say no to either. And I love what Jesus does there. He compare and contrast. Like, hey, like this is what thief does, but he's come to kill, steal, and destroy. Here's what I have for you. And the offer's out to you. Do you want this? And because I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets the Father except for me. And those aren't side by side, but like his words are like, hey, I have this to offer you. And you can settle for less and people will. And my hope is if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching on YouTube, that you probably are, you're choosing to go for more. So that's what we're going to do today. So great word there.
Yeah, well, don't want anything less than than the best.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I think first I want to dive into like why do people settle for less? Why do people choose not to grow? I think there's many reasons, but two that I kind of think of. One is, and this is going to sound maybe a little harsh and maybe I don't know, but I think one reason is people may be prideful or maybe just arrogant about it. Like I'm good enough. Like I've already done enough. I'm fine. They think they've arrived. They think they've figured it all out, and that's a dangerous place to be because there's so much to learn. There's so much to grow in, and basically they're at a point where it's like I don't need to. I'm good who I am, and the truth is like we're all trying to grow and become more like Jesus, and that's a spiritual journey that goes on and on. And if you think you got all together, or you think you're at the pinnacle of your growth, you're going to miss out on what else is there. And like I said, God has more for you, and He wants more for you.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's not purposefully arrogance, I think, but
I agree.
I get that. I get that that outlook, to be honest with you. Because when you do something for a long time, you just kind of feel like you're supposed to, hey, I'm supposed to be right here, and somebody else is trying to tell me something, or I don't need to learn anything else. You know what I mean? I can see how you get there.
You can get very content in a way where you're just cool with coasting.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm cool with that's probably not a good example. I was going to say you're cool with being an average student.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good example because I don't want to low or anybody who struggles in grade school or anything, but like you're cool with just being middle of the pack. I'm cool with just settling. I'm just cool with, and like, I'm just coasting because it's easy just to coast with things.
Very.
Like just let it go by and you're relaxing. And I think contentment in some areas are good, but like, I don't want to, like if God has more, I don't want to just settle for less. And
same. And I'll be honest with you, kind of where my mind goes is, when you feel like you kind of arrived or you've already made it. There's no point for me to grow now. What that does for me is it puts my relationship with God in danger because it makes it more passive.
Oh yeah,
right. And I don't want to have a passive relationship with God. All right, where I'm just kind of making it through. I want to be active, and to be active, I got to learn and grow. And I'm very hard headed. And when somebody is trying to tell me something, this is just, I'm trying to get better, so here you go. Sometimes I want to feel like I've already known that. You know what I mean? And but the reality is I don't want to stay in that place where it's just, I want to be active in my growth, and especially in my relationship with God.
Dude, that is awesome point. The passiveness of, because it's easy just with the relationship with God. It's just a, I don't want to say mail it in, because that's not exactly what I mean, but just kind of coast and be passive and not really be proactive about stuff.
Right.
And if you listen to any kind of marriage advice or anything, a lot of them talk about, like, as soon as you quit working on your marriage, it quits working, right? And I think can be true about your relationship with God. It's like, God's never going to leave you. He's not going to be the one who's absent. But as soon as you quit pursuing growth, pursuing your relationship, like, it's easy for it to kind of fall to the side. And we don't want to be those people who are passive, and I don't know. I want to be active in my relationship, like you said.
Yeah, and you know, this is and the reason is, this is a journey, right,
Yeah.
that we're on. It's not I think sometimes in my life I've treated it as a checkbox where I'm just marking things off as I go, you know. But really what this is a journey. And what you do in a journey is you learn and you grow, and with the ultimate goal, hey, we want to be like Jesus, right? So first thing is, you know, even though we kind of built up this, I don't think we did it on purpose, but like a pride type of deal, at least for myself, when I need to realize, no, hey, I've not made it yet, right? There's a lot of room for me to grow because I'm still on this spiritual journey. And the key is here, I think Paul says this somewhere. He says, you know, I've not made it yet, but I'm pressing on. And it's the same thing for me, same thing for you, same thing for you. We're just trying to press on because there are so much more to learn and so much closer we can get to Jesus, and I want to be as close as I can be.
Yeah, man. And it's step by step, man.
Step by step.
It's choosing to grow. The second reason I think people don't grow, me and Gage got notes here kind of together today. We were brainstorming and together about this stuff. But the second reason I think people don't grow is because they would rather be comfortable than grow. And it's a little bit different than the passiveness or the arrogance we kind of talked about. And arrogance probably wasn't the right word for that. But like, it's a little different than the coasting and the passiveness. It's more of just like, I don't want to grow because I know it's going to cost me something. I don't want to grow because I know this may hurt. It's kind of like people don't want to go work out because this is going to stretch me. This
Absolutely.
is going to hurt me.
That's my reasoning.
This is not going to be like tomorrow won't feel the same because like this is going to hurt in the moment. This is going to be difficult. But at the end of the day, when you choose to grow in life, you know that your future, your relationships, everything around you becomes better because you choose to.
Yeah, and I think part of, you know, speaking of not being comfortable, part of growth, I think, means we're going to be disrupted in certain areas and in certain ways. And it's the same thing with working out, you know. Things are not going to come easy. That's part of growing. And we don't want to be comfortable. And here's, in our calling with God, when I say calling, I'm not talking about anything specific. I'm just talking about us having a relationship with God, really. Or whatever maybe this does pertain to your specific calling, but I don't ever want to mistake comfortability for calling. So I don't want to stay in this place where I feel comfortable because I feel like I'm supposed to be here when God is calling me to something that's out of my comfort zone that I'm supposed to step into, because that's where I'm really going to grow. And if we're talking about growing, that's where we're going to grow. I'm reminded of Peter when Jesus is telling him to come out of the boat, right? When he's walking on water, he says, you know, just come out to me. Peter could have stayed in the boat, and because that would have been way more comfortable, less dangerous, more predictable, because you know on a boat you're going to be fine. But once you take a step or into something that's unfamiliar, it's hard. But man, there's so much to learn there, and there's so much growth there. And so I don't want to stay in a comfortable spot and not go to where God's calling me to go. Yeah, because He knows what's best for me.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you. One of my favorite passages, I think, kind of relates to that. And, you know, David being a shepherd boy, and he goes out to see his brothers who are, you know, Goliath is out there taunting. And in the New King James Version, which, you know, if you want to debate versions of stuff you can. But in the New King James Version, it says it this way. It says they're like, we can't go out there and fight him, blah, blah, blah. I'm paraphrasing here. But what David says to him, he's like, is there not a cause? And like, what in your life is greater? Is it your cause or is it your comfort? And for me, it's easy to be comfortable and be like, okay, I'm just cool with coasting. I'm cool with not making a difference. I'm cool with just being where I'm at, existing. I'm cool. I could easy just be comfortable just playing golf and not, worry about anything else. I could, just do my job, go home. But like, there's a cause greater. And you don't want to miss out on that cause that is so much greater just because you want to be in your comfort zone, your comfort bubble. And, man, I mean, what if David chose to be comfortable in that moment? I mean, the whole nation of Israel would have been different. And, but he chose that the cause is greater. And I think in our life, you can choose between those two. You want to choose about a cause that is greater, or do you want to choose just to be comfortable? And growing is hard, but
It is.
I believe it's always worth it.
It is hard because, and we're talking about being comfortable, these two things kind of go hand in hand. There's some pain, we talked about earlier, growing pains, you know. As you grow, you're going to experience some pain because that growth, you're going to experience some disruption. But I think really what that does through that pain and through growing, I think it helps us acknowledge where our weaknesses are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what I want, and it's important to identify that. I want to identify my weaknesses and grow from that. And part of growth is experiencing those weaknesses. And that's painful. It's hard. But for us to truly be who God has called us to be, I think it's important that we have to identify those things.
Absolutely.
We have to go through those pains.
Yeah, and a long time ago, I remember when I kind of first started speaking some at church. It was me. I don't mention everybody who's in the room, but basically, someone was saying, "Hey, Gunnar, you're good at telling stories, but I think sometimes." Basically saying I elaborate on the stories too much and it can kind of miss the point. I'm focusing too much on the stories and stuff. I think I was like 19 at the time. So I'm still learning, still growing. And I still am now today too as well. But like at that time, that was 11 years ago. But I was in the moment, I was like, man, that kind of hurt a little bit of like, dang, I messed up and missed the mark, or I'm not. But the whole fact is, if someone pointed out, I probably would have done the same thing over again, right? And so I'm glad that I had to feel a little bit of pain, a little bit of embarrassment too, of like, oh no, I'm messing up, so I could grow and become better. And that's just a skill of communication that we're talking about there, but like in all areas of life. So yeah, that's cool. So those are reasons why I think people don't grow. Maybe their comfort, maybe their what's the other one? Maybe just being content and passive.
Or that you just feel like you might have already made it.
You just might not think you've already made it. You've already arrived.
There's no room for you to grow, which is not true. Of course it is.
There's always plenty of room to grow. And if you don't, just ask somebody close to you.
Yeah.
Well,
if you have a...
Don't say it, Gage. Gage is going to say if you have a wife. And so I don't know what that means for him.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's just good, man.
Or probably, for real though, no, this is true. And this is important, and this is totally kind of different what we're talking about, but we're talking about growing. You want to identify these areas. It is important that you have, of course, a spouse who can do that for you, for real, seriously, but also friends in your life that can do that for you.
Yeah, help you identify places where you can grow.
That's important.
And good friends want to push each other. Good friends want the best for each other. We've talked about that many times, of accountability and different stuff, but like good friends want each other to want to help each other grow. So
absolutely,
that was Gage talking himself out of the wife thing. But why do we grow? So we know why people don't want to grow, but why should we grow? You're like, okay, I know why people don't grow, but why do I need to grow? And one of my favorite verses when it talks about growing is 2 Peter 3:17 and 18. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll paraphrase a little bit. It's, therefore, dear friends, since you have been forewarned, be on your guard so that you may not be carried away by the error of the lawless and fall from your secure position. So be careful. Don't fall from your secure position. It says, but grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So grow in this grace and knowledge. Like he's telling, this is Peter encouraging, grow. Don't like stay the same. But choose to grow. Don't fall for your secure position. Maybe saying, hey, I don't know if you want to be comfortable or not, but maybe you should choose to grow. And I think that resonates with me a lot because I don't want to be the same guy, the same problems, same issues, same insecurities, same selfishness. I want to grow, and we have to choose that. So a couple of different ways we can grow, or a couple not different ways we can grow. I'm sorry, a couple different reasons to grow. Is first one is just simply because God has more, and I think people will go on this spiritual journey, and it is a journey, and they just kind of come to a halt. Maybe they don't know where to go. Maybe they don't know what step to take. But they just come to a halt, and they don't experience the more that God has. And so they stay at the same place for years and years and years and never experience God more because they just came to a halt. And the thing is, God always has more. One of my favorite examples, I used this a couple weeks ago at church, is if I was going to take Gage out to a restaurant. Gage has said on this podcast he will go anywhere as long as I pay.
I will. I stand by that.
So if we do go to a restaurant, tell Gage I want to pay. And this is I had a really great meal at one place, nice restaurant. Gage, I want you to go to this place with me. I want you to experience it. It is the best thing ever. It is the best meal I've ever had in my life. I want you to experience it. The steak is so good. I want you to experience it so bad. I will pay for it. I will drive you there. We'll have a great time. White tablecloth, all of it. We sit down. I order a water, and then Gage orders a water because I'm paying.
I'm ordering Dr. Pepper.
No, you're not. No, he's ordering let him order his Dr. Pepper. And then we sit there, and the waitress comes back, and she comes to me first. She says, what do you want? And I tell her, I want the prime Wagyu dry-aged 10-ounce filet. And she's like, great, I'll put it on there. I'm like, please and thank you. Thank you so much. Like, I can't wait to experience this because I've been thinking about it. I've been talking about it. I told Gage all about it. And then Gage, she turns to Gage and she says, what do you want? And Gage says, I'll take the cheeseburger. And Gage is a big burger guy. He loves burgers. Yeah, I am too. But I didn't bring Gage all this way to this really nice restaurant, offer to pay for him to experience a cheeseburger. Now, that cheeseburger's probably pretty good there, I would imagine. But, like, I want him to experience this whole thing I've been talking about. I want him to experience the best thing I've ever experienced. I don't want him to settle for less than the best. What I planned out, what I had for him, I didn't want him to settle for less. But he settled for a cheeseburger when he could have had a prime, dry-aged, 10-ounce filet. He settled for less. And I think in a lot of spiritual journeys with God, or a lot of relationships with God, we settle for less than the best. When God has He has more for you, but you're settling for less. And why would we settle for less than God's best? If you're thinking about your life right now, wherever you're at, and maybe you're on your way to work, maybe you're on your way back from work, maybe you're listening to this as you're washing dishes or something. If God had more for your life, wouldn't you want to experience it? And I think everybody's answer would be yes. And I would too. And that's the whole point. We're choosing to do this podcast. We're choosing to interview people. We're choosing to have conversations because we want to grow, because we believe God has more. And I believe with each step you take in life on this spiritual journey, you can experience Him more and more. And we don't have to time to go through all the different stuff about that. That'd be a very long podcast, but like, God has more. And I think as you take steps, you experience that more and more, and you like what you experience.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I feel like a monologue there for a little bit.
And like what you said, our faith, our journey, it's not something that you arrive and you're done, or it's not something that you should just want to experience the easiest things. But God is infinite, and so the ways we can grow and get closer to Him are infinite. And I think as long as we're still moving and breathing, man, God's still got to work for us, and He's still got growth for us. Because we serve a God, I don't know where this is, somewhere in the Bible.
I hope so.
It's somewhere in the Bible.
Just kidding.
Who can do immeasurably more.
Ephesians 3:20.
There you go. Immeasurably more than what we can ask or even think. Right? That's the God we serve. And so if you want, to improve or to grow, it's there. Yeah. God has it. right?
Yeah.
There is no, I don't think you hit a ceiling in your potential with God. There's no ceiling, which is pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
There's no ceiling in our potential with God, and so there's always more. I think that's a great point. If I know that, same thing. If I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm going to order the steak. I'm not ordering the cheeseburger unless I'm paying, and I'm not ordering. No, but it's the same thing with God. I want what He has for me, and what He because that's going to be what's best for me. Why would I order the filet? Because it's going to taste the best. Why do I want to get what God's best is for me? Because it's going to be better for me. Individually, it's going to be better for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so just knowing that He has more, that's a great reason to want to grow.
It's back to that abundant life that we talked about, right?
Absolutely.
Life and life to the full. I think God has more for you, and don't settle for less. And it's a relationship. I don't want it to sound overwhelming, but it's just steps of taking step by step, day by day, and whatever steps you have, like just take your next one and see where God takes you from there, and see how you experience them there.
Yeah, I love the Christian faith is one like this. You can see for yourself.
Yeah,
you can see for yourself, and so just the ability to even be able to see for yourself, man, that's awesome.
There's a song I love. It's taste and see that the Lord is good.
Absolutely.
Just try it for yourself, man.
Absolutely.
Like, take a step for yourself.
Yeah.
And experience God and see where you go from there. In the spiritual journey, it can sound intimidating, but like what it is just a step at a time.
That's
a step at a time. And so that makes it's a step of faith at a time. And that's a lot less intimidating than like the destination where you think you have to be at a certain point at a certain time. No, God's asking you to take a step today and see where that leads you. So He has more, man. Why do you want to grow? Because there's so much more that God has. And wouldn't you want to experience it?
Absolutely. I'll give you another reason to want to grow.
Go ahead.
I think another reason to want to grow is so that we can make an impact for the kingdom. All right. And so, at church, we always have this, know God, find freedom. But this third thing that I'm about to say, very important, discovering purpose.
Right.
And we all may have different ways we go about our purpose. But I think our purpose is to make an impact for God's kingdom.
Absolutely.
That's if you just had to pick one overarching purpose for everybody in the Christian faith, we just want to make an impact in God's kingdom. And so, to me, one reason I want to grow is because I want to make even more of an impact in God's kingdom, because that's where I feel fulfilled, or where I feel like I'm living in that full life or in that abundant life.
It's almost like you're made for it, dude.
Made for it.
Like God designed
Absolutely.
you to experience fulfillment, living in the purpose He's created you to do.
Absolutely. And I want to do that, right? I want to grow in that love. I want to grow in my relationship with Him, and even my relationship with others. I want to do all those things because it helps me make that impact. It reminds me of the song "Made for More." I don't know who sings that, but I know we sing it at church. And what does it say? I wasn't made to be
Just sing it. So
tending a grave. Yeah, I think I should sing it probably. But we're made for more, and that's true. And I think if you want to, I don't do this all the time,
Right.
But if you want to experience that fulfillment or that full life, one way to do that in growing is we can make an impact for God's kingdom, and that's where I'm most fulfilled, and that's my reasoning.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a growth step too. I think of like if you're wondering where you can take a step today, like as far as like growing, like maybe it's serving somebody like that, or maybe just making a difference in others and living out your God-given purpose, overall purpose of making a difference in God's kingdom. Now it works itself out different in specific ways. Like some people, you can do it different ways. But like as far as like the overarching theme, like whenever you make a difference for the kingdom, you experience fulfillment and purpose. And gosh, man, it's good stuff. I mean, it's just
again, we're just trying to impact the kingdom. I'm reminded of, again, somewhere in the Bible, we are God's workmanship, right? Or Some translations say his handiwork. And it goes on to say we were created in Christ Jesus to do good works, right? To me, that says, hey, we're created to build up the kingdom. And that's what I want to do. And growing leads to a kingdom impact.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do.
Yeah, man, I think when you choose to grow like that, I mean, I think it really is exciting to live purposeful, because when you realize you're doing something greater than you could ever do by yourself, that's exciting. Like it's not just my willpower, but it's by God's Spirit making a difference in me that's helping make a difference in others. Like we are not good enough by ourselves to make a difference, but like with God's help and with people by our side, we can make a bigger difference. And it's so fun to experience. And wouldn't you want to experience it? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want to experience like that growth step of like making a difference in others? Wouldn't you want to experience fulfillment? Wouldn't you want
Absolutely.
Like, man, just take a step. Choose to grow. So what is the point of growing? What's the point of growing? You experience more of God. God has more for you. You get to experience more of him. And you get to experience more of that purpose, more of that fulfillment.
Make an impact for the kingdom.
Make an impact that's bigger than anything, any dollar you can make, any vacation you can take. Didn't mean to rhyme, but man, that was cool.
Dr. Susan.
Man,
that's pretty good.
But it's bigger than anything you can experience. And once you taste it, you'll love it, and you'll want to experience it over and over again. So choose to grow, and I believe you'll like each step you take. Gage, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said earlier, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate you for choosing to get better, choosing to grow. And we believe when you get better, everybody else around you will get better as well. So until next time, keep on getting better.